It was a crisp autumn morning, 30 years ago, when I stood staring at my reflection in the bathroom mirror. I was 62, retired just a few months earlier, and I didn't like what I saw. Puffy eyes, aching joints, skin dull and tired. My energy was sapped, and every little sniffle or bug seemed to knock me down for days. My wife, God bless her, used to say, "You've got a good heart, but you're running on empty." She was right. I wasn't sick in a way doctors could label, but I wasn't well either. That day became a turning point. I decided I didn't want to spend my retirement in and out of hospitals or swallowing pills like candy. I wanted to feel alive, to live, not just exist. So I made a pact with myself. I'd research, experiment, and adopt 5 rock-solid daily habits that would build real, lasting health. Not trendy fads, not quick fixes, just time-tested, body-loving routines. I won't lie, those early weeks were rough. But looking back now, at 92, having not had a single serious illness in 30 years, not even a cold, I can say with certainty, it was the best decision of my life. Let me walk you through each of these 5 habits. I'll share the science, the stories, and most importantly, how you can make them part of your life too. This chapter, we'll start with the foundation. Habit number 1. Starting the day with purpose and ritual. Habit number 1. Start the day with purpose and ritual. People underestimate mornings. We stumble out of bed, down a cup of coffee, check the news, and before we know it, stress has snuck in through the back door. But I learned the hard way. How you start your day sets the tone for everything. My morning ritual is sacred. I wake up at 5:30 a.m., not because I'm a saint, but because I've trained my body over time. I sit up slowly, stretch my arms, and say aloud one thing I'm grateful for. Some mornings it's big. I'm grateful for 30 more years of health. Other days it's small. I'm grateful for the way the light hits the kitchen tiles. But every day, that practice brings peace. After that, I drink a glass of warm water with a squeeze of lemon and a pinch of sea salt. Sounds simple, right? But that little habit rehydrates your body, kickstarts digestion, and supports adrenal function. Doctors today call it metabolic priming. I just call it common sense. Next, I take a slow 10-minute walk outside, no matter the weather. Sometimes with my old golden retriever, sometimes alone. I breathe deeply, inhale the day, and say a few affirmations. I don't read the paper. I don't look at my phone. That time is mine. This whole ritual takes about 30 to 45 minutes, but it transforms my state of mind. I feel calm, energized, centered. And guess what? Since I started this, I haven't had a single anxious day. Not one. Science backs this up. A study from the University of Toronto found that older adults who practiced morning gratitude and mindfulness had a 40% lower risk of developing depressive symptoms. Another study from Japan showed that early exposure to natural sunlight within the first hour of waking up balances cortisol and improves immune regulation. We didn't need studies to know this 50 years ago. But it's nice to see modern science catching up. Habit number 2. Moving with intention even when you don't feel like it. Now let's talk about movement. I'm not talking about hitting the gym or running marathons. At my age, I don't lift weights. I lift groceries, garden tools, and grandkids. But what I do every single day is move with intention. When I was 62, my knees ached constantly. I assumed it was just getting old. But one day I met a 78-year-old man in the park doing Tai Chi. He moved like water, graceful, calm. I watched for days before I had the courage to join in. He invited me into the group, and that's where my relationship with movement changed. Since then, I've practiced gentle mobility every single morning, 15 to 20 minutes. It's a mix of Tai Chi, stretching, and light resistance. Nothing extreme, just enough to oil the joints, engage the muscles, and wake up the circulation. The results were astounding. Within 2 weeks, my knee pain began to fade. Within 2 months, I could crouch to pick up a drop spoon without grunting like a bear. And now, at 92, I still climb stairs, sweep my porch, and even shovel light snow in the winter. The key is consistency, not intensity. The National Institute on Aging has published countless papers showing how low impact daily movement slows cognitive decline, improves bone density, and reduces inflammation. And let me tell you something, you don't stop moving because you get old. You get old because you stop moving. That's the heart of it. Some mornings I don't feel like doing it, but I remind myself of my rule. Never miss 2 days in a row. If I skip today, I move tomorrow. It's a promise I've kept for 30 years. And it's why I've stayed mobile, pain-free, and independent long into my 90s. A story from the past. The garden that saved my life. Let me take a moment to tell you a story. It was the summer of '98, and my wife had just passed. I was devastated. My daughter suggested I take up gardening. Just something to keep your hands busy, she said. I started small, some tomatoes, a few herbs. But that garden became my sanctuary. Every day, I'd be out there, knees in the dirt, hands in the soil, body moving, heart healing. That garden gave me purpose, movement, fresh air, and more vegetables than I knew what to do with. Over time, I realized something profound. It wasn't just a garden, it was medicine. Let me ask you something. When did food get so complicated? Low carb, high fat, gluten free, keto, intermittent fasting, macros and micros. It's enough to make your head spin. But back in the 1950s, when I was growing up, nobody talked like that. Yet people lived long, worked hard, and rarely needed a doctor. My grandmother lived to 98 and never once stepped foot in a gym or counted a single calorie. Her secret: she cooked real food. That brings us to habit number 3: eating real, whole foods, and nothing you can't pronounce. This isn't a diet, it's a way of life. One I adopted nearly 30 years ago when I realized that every ache, every bout of fatigue, every little cold might be connected to what I was putting on my plate. I started by clearing out the junk: boxed cereals, sugary snacks, canned soups loaded with sodium, frozen dinners with a mile-long ingredients list. I replaced them with the foods I remembered from childhood: eggs, butter, oatmeal, fruits, garden vegetables, beans, fresh bread, and meat from the butcher, not the plastic wrapped mystery meat from the big box store. My golden rule: if it didn't exist 70 years ago, I don't eat it. Let me tell you about my grocery list. It hasn't changed much in 30 years. Here's a snapshot. Breakfast staples: steel-cut oats, eggs, fruit, whole milk yogurt, black coffee. Lunch basics: lentil or bean soup, sourdough bread, cheese, olives, boiled eggs, fresh greens. Dinner rotations: grilled or stewed meat, roasted vegetables, brown rice or potatoes, bone broth. Snacks: a handful of nuts, a slice of fruit, sometimes dark chocolate 85% or higher. Nothing fancy, just food. Real, honest food. My meals are simple but satisfying. There are no diet plans, No apps, no calculations, just intentional eating based on common sense and tradition. The 5 food rules that changed my life. When I made this shift, I laid out 5 personal food rules, call them Grandpa's Nutrition Law, and I've stuck to them ever since. Eat what your great grandparents would recognize. If it comes in a bag with a cartoon character on it, it's not food. Cook more than you microwave. Preparing meals yourself gives you power over ingredients, portions, and your health. Keep sugar to a bare minimum. I used to have a sweet tooth. I weaned myself off slowly. Now even fruit tastes like dessert. Honor your hunger, but don't worship it. I eat when I'm hungry, not when I'm bored. And I stop when I'm 80% full. Make eating an event, not a background noise. No TV, no scrolling. Just me, my food, and sometimes a good conversation or silence. The science behind it. Why simplicity wins. Modern science has finally caught up with what our elders knew all along. In study after study, diets rich in whole foods, especially traditional Mediterranean style eating, are associated with lower inflammation, reduced cancer risk, stronger immunity, and sharper memory. Here are a few findings that back up this wisdom. The Blue Zone study, which analyzed the world's longest living populations, found that their diets were almost entirely based on natural, plant-based ingredients, with meat eaten sparingly and sweets as rare treats. A Harvard study showed that older adults who consumed 5 servings of fruits and vegetables daily had a 13% lower risk of death from all causes compared to those who ate fewer servings. Even the gut microbiome, now considered a major player in immune health, thrives when fed fiber-rich, unprocessed foods. Story from my life. The month I gave up sugar. When I was 65, I challenged myself. 1 month, no added sugar. I was tired of the constant energy dips, the afternoon brain fog, the late night cravings. So I cut it all out. No soda, no pastries, no sweetened yogurt, no sauces with hidden sugars. The first week was brutal. Headaches, mood swings. I felt like a teenager going through withdrawal. But by the third week, something amazing happened. My energy stabilized. My sleep improved. The arthritis in my hands felt lighter. Even my vision seemed clearer. That month turned into a year. And eventually, sugar just stopped being part of my daily life. Do I still enjoy a slice of pie at Thanksgiving? You bet. But daily sugar, that's gone. And I've never looked back. Why this habit keeps me illness-free? You may be wondering, how exactly does eating like this keep me from getting sick? Let me explain in plain terms. Immune function. Your gut houses 70% of your immune system. When you feed it real food, fiber, fermented foods, clean proteins, you support your body's first line of defense. Inflammation control. Processed foods, seed oils, and sugar are the root of chronic inflammation, which is linked to heart disease, cancer, and autoimmune conditions. Real food keeps inflammation in check. Energy and sleep. Without sugar crashes or artificial additives messing with your hormones, your body maintains natural energy throughout the day and deeper sleep at night. 2 essential keys for staying well. My favorite recipes that built my health. Here are 3 of my go-to meals that you can try at any age. They're simple, nourishing, and I believe they've kept me strong for decades. 1. Grandpa's Power Oatmeal. Cup steel cut oats. 1 tablespoon ground flaxseed. A pinch of sea salt. Apple chop. Sprinkle of cinnamon. Handful of walnuts. Boil the oats. Stir in the rest. and enjoy with a splash of whole milk or kefir. Keeps you full for hours and feeds your gut. 2. Lentil and veggie stew. 1 cup lentils, 2 carrots, 1 celery stalk, 1 onion chopped, garlic, turmeric, and thyme. Simmer with water or bone broth for 45 minutes. Packed with fiber, minerals, and flavor. I make a big batch every Sunday. 3. Simple roast chicken and vegetables. Whole chicken or thighs. Potatoes, onions, carrots, garlic, olive oil, salt, rosemary. Roast everything together. 1 pan. 1 hour. 1 nourishing meal. Add a salad and you've got a feast. The mindset shift. From dieting to nourishing. If you take away one lesson from this chapter, let it be this. Don't eat to restrict, eat to restore. This habit isn't about being perfect or pure. It's about remembering that food is medicine, that every bite is a building block for your future health, that your kitchen is more powerful than your medicine cabinet. I haven't been sick in 30 years, and I truly believe eating like it's 1950 again is a huge part of that. When people talk about health, they usually focus on food, sleep, or exercise. But let me tell you, there's a silent killer out there that creeps in when we're not looking. Loneliness. I was 67 when I felt it for the first time. My wife had passed away 2 years earlier. The kids were busy with their own families. I had retired. Most days were quiet, too quiet. I remember one afternoon sitting on the porch watching the wind stir the trees and realizing I hadn't spoken to another human being all day. That moment woke me up. I didn't want to fade quietly into the background of life. I didn't want to become invisible. So I made a new rule for myself, one that would become habit number 4, and I believe one of the most powerful reasons I haven't been sick in 3 decades. Stay connected, stay useful, stay seen. Let's dive into this habit and why human connection is the most underrated immune booster you'll never find in a bottle. The science of loneliness and why it's killing seniors. Here's a startling fact. Loneliness is as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That's not me saying it. That's a 2015 study published in Perspectives on Psychological Science. Another study by the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine found that social isolation significantly increases the risk of premature death from all causes, especially in older adults. Why? Because your immune system doesn't just react to viruses, it reacts to your emotional environment. Chronic loneliness raises stress hormones like cortisol, disrupts sleep, and weakens your body's ability to fight infections. Your white blood cells get confused. Your inflammation rises. You become more vulnerable to everything from the flu to heart disease. And here's the saddest part. The quieter our lives become, the less we realize it's happening. My daily rule. Connect with one soul every day. I made this rule for myself 30 years ago. I must connect with at least one person every single day, meaningfully, not just a nod at the grocery store. Some days, it's a phone call to my daughter. Other days, it's a coffee with my neighbor or a walk with an old friend. When I can't see someone in person, I write a letter, send a voice message, or invite someone for tea. These tiny threads of connection, they weave the fabric of my emotional well-being. They give me a reason to smile, to think, to share stories. And every time I connect with someone, I feel a lift in my chest, like a window opening inside me. How I built my circle of strength. I don't have hundreds of friends. I have a circle of 5, people I know I can call at 2 a.m. if needed. We check on each other. We celebrate little things. We grieve together when one of us loses someone. And over the years, this circle has become a lifeline. Here's how I nurtured it. I joined a local walking club. Not a fitness thing, just a group of people who walk and talk. It's how I met George, my best friend for the last 25 years. I started volunteering. Every Tuesday, I read to kids at the library. Their energy is infectious, and they call me Grandpa Jay. They don't care that I'm 92. They care that I show up. I attend Sunday potlucks. No sermons, no politics, just people, food, and stories. These aren't hard things, but they've kept me in community, not isolated. And that, my friend, is medicine. A story from my life. The night I nearly gave up. There was a night about 15 years ago when I almost gave up on people. I'd had a falling out with one of my sons. My other kids were busy. I'd lost two close friends that year. I sat in my living room, lights off, just me and the quiet hum of the refrigerator. I felt like no one needed me anymore. But something inside me whispered, go outside. So I did. I took a walk down the block and ended up at a small community center where I'd seen a sign for a seniors tech night. I wandered in. They were teaching older folks how to use smartphones. I didn't care about phones. I just didn't want to be alone. That night changed everything. I met Linda, 78, sassy, and tech savvy. We laughed, swapped stories, and from that moment, I had a new friend. And that friendship led to more. Because when you take one step toward people, they take one back. You're never too old to make new connections, but you have to be the one to move first. How social habits strengthen your body. Let's break down the real physical benefits of meaningful social connection. 1. Stronger immune function. Positive social relationships reduce stress and increase the production of antibodies and natural killer cells, your body's infection fighters. 2. Better sleep. Lonely people sleep worse. Those with healthy connections have longer, deeper sleep cycles, which is when the body heals and regenerates. 3. Heart health. According to the American Heart Association, seniors with strong social ties have lower blood pressure and a reduced risk of stroke. 4. Cognitive protection. Social engagement keeps your mind sharp. Regular conversations challenge memory, language, empathy, all essential mental faculties. My weekly connection rituals. You don't need to be an extrovert. You just need to be intentional. Here are my go-to rituals that anyone can try. Tea Tuesday. I invite a friend or neighbor over for a cup of tea and 30 minutes of talk. No distractions. Letter Sunday. Every Sunday, I write a handwritten note to someone, family, old friend, or even a new acquaintance. Walk and Talk Fridays. I take a walk with someone. No phones. Just footsteps and stories. These routines keep me rooted in community. They keep me visible, relevant, and alive, not just in body, but in spirit. What if you don't have anyone? Maybe you're reading this and thinking, I don't have anyone left. I hear you. But let me gently challenge that belief. Here's what you can do. Join something small, a book club, gardening group, church choir, birdwatching team. Not everything sticks. Try anyway. Offer value, volunteer, mentor, teach. People remember how you make them feel, not your age. Reconnect. Dig through old photos. Reach out to someone you haven't spoken to in years. People are often waiting for someone to go first. Don't wait for the world to knock on your door. Knock first. If food is fuel and connection is sunlight, then rest is rain, the quiet, powerful force that allows everything else to grow. But somewhere along the way, we stopped resting. We started calling it lazy. We glorified being busy. We traded deep sleep for late night news, endless scrolling, and energy drinks. And what did we get? Exhaustion, anxiety, burnout, a weakened body that never gets a chance to heal. But for the last 30 years, I've done something different. I followed a rhythm that's as old as time itself. I sleep like the sun sets. I breathe like the wind. I rest like the trees in winter. And I believe this rhythm, this habit number 5, is the final pillar that's kept me from getting sick for 3 decades. Rest daily. Sleep deeply. Connect to stillness. In this chapter, I'll share the restful routines that changed my life, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. Sleep is not optional, it's a full body reboot. Let's start with the most basic kind of rest: sleep. Most people treat sleep like something they have to do. I treat it like something I get to do, a sacred time when my body repairs, reboots, and resets. For the last 30 years, I've averaged 8 hours a night, and I've been strict about it. No TV after 8 p.m., no bright lights, no loud noises. I go to bed by 9:30, rise at 5:30. That rhythm keeps me sharp, strong, and energized. And science agrees. The National Institutes of Health says deep sleep boosts your immune system, repairs tissues and muscles, cleans out waste from your brain, balances hormones, reduces the risk of heart disease, stroke, and depression. Here's the truth: if you don't sleep well, you don't heal, period. My nightly rituals for perfect sleep: I treat bedtime like a ceremony. Here's how it looks. The sunset wind down 7 o'clock, 8:30 p.m. I dim the lights, turn off all screens, and put on soft instrumental music. Sometimes I light a candle. My body starts to recognize the signals. It's time to let go. Gratitude reflection, 8:30 p.m. Every night, I write down 3 things I'm grateful for. It's like tucking my soul in for the night. Herbal tea plus reading, 8:45 p.m. Chamomile tea, a good old book paper, not digital, and quiet. No thrillers or politics, just calm. Bed by 9:30 p.m., no excuses. Even when I'm not tired, I lie down and let my mind drift. Sometimes I meditate. Other times, I listen to the rain or a soft fan. Sleep always comes. The forgotten rest, daily stillness. But rest isn't just about sleep. It's about stillness, something we've lost in our modern age of noise. I take 30 minutes every morning, before breakfast, before talking, before moving fast, to just sit. I call it my morning quiet. Sometimes I close my eyes and breathe. Sometimes I pray. Sometimes I sit by the window and just watch the birds. No goal, just presence. This small ritual clears my mind, lowers my blood pressure, and centers me for the day. It's like cleansing the windshield before driving into the world. Breath, the medicine we overlook. You know what's free, easy, and instantly healing? Breathing. Not the shallow, chest level breathing we do all day, but deep belly breaths, the kind that signal to your nervous system you're safe. You can heal now. Here's the simple breathing exercise I've done for 25 years. Box breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Repeat for 5 to 10 minutes. I do this every morning and anytime I feel stress. It calms the mind, lowers stress hormones, and improves focus. My story. The year I burned out and relearned stillness. Let me tell you a story. About 20 years ago, I took on too much. I was helping care for my grandkids, volunteering twice a week, doing handyman jobs for neighbors, and still maintaining my garden. I started getting exhausted. My joints ached. I caught colds twice in 3 months, which was rare for me. My sleep suffered. My mood dipped. So I pulled back. I took 2 weeks completely off. No obligations, no visits, just me, nature, and stillness. In that time, I rediscovered how powerful rest is. I started meditating again. I sat outside for hours. I watched ants. I listened to wind. I did nothing, and it healed me. I came out of that rest stronger than before, and I've never gone back to overcommitting. The spiritual layer, letting go of worry. One of the most important parts of rest is letting go of worry, fear, guilt, and control. I used to lie awake thinking about things I couldn't change, arguments from 30 years ago, regrets, what ifs. Then I started practicing what I call the nightly surrender. Every night, I whisper to myself, I did my best. I released the rest. It's a form of trust. You don't need to believe in a specific religion to understand the power of surrender. You just need to know that holding on too tight is like clenching a fist. You can't receive anything new that way. Once I started surrendering daily, my sleep deepened, my anxiety lifted, my immune health improved, my peace returned. Nature's rhythm. Why I follow the sun. My days are aligned with natural light. I wake with the sunrise. I rest after sunset. I open my curtains wide. I spend time outside, even if it's cold. Why? Because light regulates your circadian rhythm, your body's internal clock. And when you live according to that rhythm, your hormones balance, your energy rises, and your healing improves. My daily rhythm for a restful, resilient life. 5:30 a.m. Wake up with the sun. Stretch gently. Drink warm water. 6 a.m. 30 minutes of morning stillness or prayer. 7 a.m. nourishing breakfast. Slow and quiet. 10 a.m. light walk outdoors. 12:30 p.m. lunch, followed by a short rest or nap, 20-30 minutes max. 3 p.m. tea and reflection or letter writing. 6 p.m. early dinner. 7:30 p.m. wind down begins, no screens. 9:30 p.m. bedtime. This rhythm protects my body from stress, sharpens my mind, and anchors me spiritually. What if you can't sleep? Many older folks tell me they just can't sleep anymore. But often, the problem isn't sleep, it's our relationship with rest. Here are a few tips if you struggle with insomnia. Cut caffeine after 1 p.m. Create a bedtime ritual even if it's just brushing your hair slowly or dimming the lights. Keep a notepad near your bed. Write down what's bothering you and tell your brain, we'll handle this tomorrow. Take naps, but short ones, 20 minutes max. Before 3 p.m., spend time in sunlight every day. This resets your clock. You now know the 5 habits that I believe have kept me healthy, strong, and doctor-free for over 30 years. I walk every single day, no matter what. I eat only real food, cooked simply. I stay connected to people, to purpose, to joy. I rest deeply, and I honor stillness. And above all, I live with intention, not fear. You don't need fancy supplements. You don't need expensive treatments. You need consistency, courage, and care. It's never too late to start. Your body is listening. Give it what it's always needed, and it will thank you. Thank you for walking with me. Now go, live well, rest deeply, and never stop connecting.